Hello and welcome or welcome back to King Note Gaming. Today we are making vacation homes for all of my original Fugue villagers because we're going to be saying goodbye to them. And I'm a little bit sad, but at the same time, I can't wait to get some new villagers and some new villager photos. I, of course, had to start out with Rolf because he is my favorite villager of all time. And I will be having him back on my island at some point, but the theme that I'm doing is Halloween, and I wanted some new villagers for that. So how this is going to work is I'm actually going to be making 5 vacation homes because I have paired off my villagers on this island, and I didn't want them to get lonely, so I'm going to start out with Rolf's house, but then I'm going to invite Whitney to live with him. So each vacation home will have 2 little miniature parts. I kind of went overboard with Rolf's just because he's my favorite and I wanted his to look really nice, but I end up renovating it further once I invite Whitney over. And once I'm done with the outside of Rolf's house, I do like a pretty simple little interior, but again, it'll be expanded upon once we get to adding Whitney. So the initial part is just Rolf's theme, and then I kind of integrate Whitney's stuff in as well, which was a lot of fun. I will say, this was a lot of fun, because I have been doing a lot of HHP speedrunning, where you just put in the required items and leave, and it's been fun to actually decorate. And this was a pretty long project. The full footage for this video was like almost 5 hours long. And this little front room changes, but Rolf's theme is camping, which I think is pretty fun, because I do like camping, and he's just like a fisherman kind of guy. I respect that about him. Very grandpa. Very grandpa. So I wanted to give him kind of a woodsy kind of home at first. This was actually before I planned on making everyone a vacation home in tandem. So this footage is like way earlier than all the other footage, because all the rest of it I did in like 2 days. And yeah. I gave him a little log bed. This is kind of an homage to my grandpa's house, where he lived before he passed. My grandpa was a lawyer, and he grew up in the Arizona territory, and was very cowboy, and had a bunch of degrees, and like log furniture kind of stuff. That little upstairs area is kind of like a loft. It still exists. My step-grandma kept it the same. And that's actually where I stay with my partner when we go over there for Thanksgiving, so I wanted to make that his bedroom. And now we're going to invite Whitney to the island so she can be with her husband, Rolf, of course. She very much gives, like, she feels like my grandma, honestly. I don't have any living grandparents right now, so, you know, they're my spiritual grandparents. Anyway, I'm gonna kind of speedrun this a little bit and not do all of the pretty cutscenes because it would take way too long. There's actually a bonus little build that I do in the middle of this that we'll get to later, but like, look at these two. They're so cute together. They have matching clothes, they have matching peats. I love them so much. Definitely two of my favorite villagers of all time. And I'm gonna very quickly get through this, but, you know, it was just cute. I had to include Whitney and Rolf being grandparents, because it just warms my little heart. And here I'm I didn't do a ton of editing. I mostly just wanted to give them a bigger looking house because I did change it to 2 floors. Well, I did make the second floor and the first floor bigger. So, yeah. Now I'm tearing down everything that I did previously, but hey, you know. Whitney's not gonna take that kind of a campground, but the upstairs stays pretty similar, so it's a good balance between the two of them. But yeah, I wanted it to be a little bit more classy, a nice vacation home for both of them to relax in, and very like grandparent coded, like older furniture, that kind of stuff, because I thought that was fun. And of course I kept the blue and white color scheme that both of them have. And it's fun to make them a house together, because generally speaking I tend to make their houses like, you know, echoes of each other. But in this case I could actually make them a house together. And this way I won't feel as bad when I kick them out, because I can always go to Happy Home Paradise and say hello to them if I want to. Which is the main reason why I'm doing this. Plus it's fun to just make some vacation homes because I want to, and not because I have to unlock, you know, the decorating on my own island. That gets a little overwhelming sometimes, but this was a nice break from that. And I tried to give all of the shared houses like a bathroom, a kitchen, their bedroom, some kind of hobby area, you know, just like an actual house. That was my goal with this. And I wanted it to suit both of their vibes, and I think I did a very good job with this one, because it's like classy, it's classic. There's still like a place to cook, because Rolf likes to cook. He likes to fish, he likes to do all that kind of stuff, so it's fun. Though my like one pet peeve with like the counters in this game is that the small counter is way too low. Like the low counter is way too low and the tall counter is way too tall. I wish there was like a medium counter, because it doesn't line up with a lot of the kitchen things like the stoves and whatnot. So I tried to use them in a vacation home coming up here, but I ended up not using them, which is a shame, because it is nice to have like counters. But, you know, the pillars are very nice, though. I do like the pillars a lot. I think it's a good... And the partition walls, obviously. But yeah, oh, lots of fun with this one. I tried to make it, like, super grandparent-y, but, like, classy grandparents. Like, rich, retired grandparents. And then here, I'm just expanding the bedroom to be a bit bigger. I'm keeping the basic vibe of it, but I just wanted it to be a little bit bigger. And then I named them Retirement Cabin, because that works. They're very cute together. I love it. And then next, I'm inviting Nan over to the island, and she's going to be with her girlfriend Pashmina, which is going to be a lot of fun. Her theme was actually pretty cool. It's like a luxury hotel, which I wouldn't have known unless I got her on an island that I didn't have her on, but it's a fun theme, and it works very well for both her and Pashmina, because they're both, you know, they like nice things. It seems like they both enjoy, like, Pashmina seems like she's kind of like an audiophile. She likes really good sound equipment. She's into like punk rock and stuff, and like good music. And then of course Nan likes classical music, but she also likes reading and literature. So like a luxury hotel is a very good theme for both of them. I'm happy that she had that. Plus I was able to make a pretty nice little courtyard kind of thing for the outside. and balance it out with some symmetry, kind of. I couldn't completely go symmetrical just because of how the bridges work in this game. But, you know, we've all been angry about that, right? Like, you can't line up the house with the bridge in Happy Home Paradise for whatever reason, and just, anyway, mess. But I wanted to add, like, a little area, like a seating area, a little trash can, and then we did the interior, which, obviously, I'm not going to have the bedroom on the first floor. I mean, I technically could, but it doesn't feel right for, like, an actual, like, house they're going to be living in together. So I started with a little seating area in the corner there, and then changing around the wallpaper and flooring. I really like the darker wood and the brick. It looks really nice. Yeah. That's what I go with. And then I get some partition walls to kind of divide up the space. And I think that looks pretty nice. Obviously, I gotta make a little kitchen area. Then like the living room areas in the front corner there, and then I have a little bathroom. Just making it a livable space for these two. And of course they have to have a nice little fireplace because their vacation home is in winter. They need a place to get warm. And of course TV. I wish that the hanging monitor had like a couple more customizations, and I ended up changing it just to the normal TV, which is fine. I am very tempted, like now that I realize, or figured out, I guess, that the hanging monitor and the dual monitors, I think the dual monitors you can also do custom designs, and that opens up a lot of possibilities, which is fun. But I gotta think about that more and see how I can incorporate that into an island or whatever. But anyway, now we're in the bedroom. I decided to go for more dark brick and wood. Just, it looks wonderful. I absolutely adore those little side tables. They are truly one of my favorite 2.0 items. They just look so nice. And then, of course, like, I included the kind of like Alphonse Mucha-esque painting there, which when I saw that, I'm like, oh, absolutely have to include that. Absolutely. I love Alphonse Mucha. I actually have like a little art book of his. And then we have the tried and true division of space with the hanging curtains. I do that a lot. I don't know. It just feels like a door that's not actually a door, that you can actually walk through. So that's why I use them. And now we get to bring Pashmina over to finish this second house. And I love the little meetings that they have. It's so cute. It's like, yeah, I'll be roommates for you. It's honestly so cool that they included the fact that if you put two of your own villagers on your island together, they're like, oh yeah, we live on the same island, we'll have a ton to talk about, that kind of thing. I think that's a fun touch. But yeah, my goat lesbians, there they are. Just, oh, I love Nan and Pashmina. They're so cute. And I'm gonna be upgrading their vacation home, even though their vacation home was pretty complete with, like, Nan alone, but I felt like I needed to add a little something something. Of course, I'm going to add more kitchen things because I forgot to do it the first time. And rearrange the bathroom a bit. I love that sink, like that really fancy sink. It's super nice. I like it has a ton of good customizations. The black and white one is really good. I love the blue one. I mean, obviously, blue's my favorite color. That's pretty duh. I added some more hanging things, some spotlights. I had a heck of a time figuring out where that piano was going to go, but I knew I needed a piano in there because Nan has a piano in her base house. So I want to include that, as well as a little dining area, and I wanted to make sure that they could actually walk around. That's one of my things, is the villagers need to be able to go everywhere. And then I added in some little area rugs. And then I also used the like decking rug as a different type of flooring, which is a fun little detail that I think looks really nice. And then of course I had to add some things to their bedroom. I added in some cherry speakers on Pashmina's side, a little writing set because Chevra is Nan's pen pal, so they can like write to each other. And then a cute little sitting area. I kind of made it like really symmetrical, just so they each had their own little space in the bedroom, which I thought was kind of fun. And that's going to be it for our Goat Girls. Now we're inviting Bam over to the island for one of our gay couples on the island, Bam and Julian, which I didn't even mean to do it in this order, it just turned out this way. At that surprise, I was trying to get Bam over there, but then Sky asked for a vacation home, and I said, you know what, if you're asking, sure, why not, I'll do a little quick one. So she wanted an art studio kind of vibe, and yeah, I gotta do that, that's fun. I included a lot of statues, because that was a part of her order. She's blue, so I put a lot of blue plants and flowers. And I thought, you know what, let's do it. Might as well. An interesting fact, I didn't know this was a mechanic in Happy Home Paradise, but if they ask for you specifically, you get some extra pokey for doing the order, which is kind of interesting. So, I figured, let's do it. Why not? Plus, I'm a sucker for art, as you probably could tell. So I'm like, you know what, why not? It's cute. Let's do it really fast. I didn't give her a big house. I just did the smallest house possible and did a little painting setup, like a little art school kind of thing. So there's some fruit there for the students to do a still life of, and then the paintball floor and some coveralls. And I made it like really simple, but I think it turned out really cute. So we'll do a little once over of this just because we can. And now let's get back to Bam, get back to where we were supposed to be. So, Bam likes to cook, which I think is really cute of him, honestly. But, I mean, it makes sense. So, we're starting out strong, making the house large initially. And then I add more stuff later, because Julian's stuff is more, like, space-oriented, so I kind of wanted to combine the two vibes. And the space stuff looks really good outdoors more often. But I'm just kind of getting the layout down here, giving them a bathroom. And I'm trying to make it walkable as much as possible, as I always say. Just because, you know, this is where they're going to be living permanently for a while. Which feels so weird to say. I usually don't change up my dreamies on my forever island, but... or my forever town, or whatever else. Like, I usually keep the same villagers, but I just needed something different. So, but it feels better because, you know, they have their own house I can come visit later, and I made it real nice for them. And yeah, the tatami looks really nice. I like the kotatsu. I enjoy just the vibes of this build. It feels very homey, feels very relaxing. I like that a lot. Also, lots of food, lots of baskets. I had a lot of fun with this project overall. And of course, I love shipping my villagers together. And obviously, Bam and Julian are pretty similar in design. And the jock and the... you know, kind of flippant guy is such a fun combination. But yeah, I like these two together a lot. And it's just nice to make a little house for them, you know? It is a fun time. And now we're going upstairs. I made it pretty big. I think it's almost exactly the same size as the player house. I think. It looks similar, at least. But yeah, that's what we're doing. We're giving them their bedroom. I didn't really do much at this point, because now we get to move Julian over. And he's going to be the roommate of Bam. So that's going to be nice. Plus, Julian adds in a lot of fun stuff for his, you know, his theme for his dream vacation home. And it adds enough that it'll make it more cohesive as a home, especially the bedroom. Like, I upgrade their bedroom quite a bit. And I love how they just focus so much on friendship. I'm like, boys, you're gay. Boys, you're gay. Anyway, but yeah, I want to add in, like, the moon chairs, the other Celeste DIY kind of furniture, because it's glowy, it's blue, it's fun, lots of glowing moss things. So, I generally made the yard mostly with Julian-style stuff, but, you know, it's still a nice area for them to be around in, and I can always renovate these again later. I might put some more, like, exercise equipment out at some point if I feel like it. I probably won't record it or anything, but this is, like, the base of what I want their vacation home to be like. And I gave them a little pergola, gazebo kind of thing, and then the bamboo stuff is kind of a homage to Bam's aesthetic. And of course I had to make it night, because I also put it in the glowing moss area on purpose. It looks really nice. And then here I'm adding a little bit to the home space. I'm adding in more of, like, the Zodiac furniture. I replaced the square bathtub with the Taurus bathtub, and then I added some more, like, lighting feature kind of stuff. And then some rugs. And then upstairs is where I really put the galaxy stuff to its maximum, because I feel like Julian would like the bedroom to his liking. He was, like, fine with the living room being more of Bam's aesthetic, but I feel like they were like, yeah, that's fair. You can have the upstairs aesthetic, I'll have the downstairs aesthetic. They kind of merge in the downstairs too. Of course, I had to put their bed back, because I think it disappeared when... Or, no, I got them a new bed, because I wanted the gold to match all the gold items for the Zodiac set. And I gave them gaming desks, because our boys are gamers, with a Y. And then I made Julian's desk, like, light blue and white, and then Bam's is just black and blue, which I think looks nice. Gave them kind of, like, their own sides, kind of like I did with Nan and Pashmina's bedroom, just to give them some of their own space. And the chairs, the gaming chairs, I am so glad that it comes in, like, a dark blue variation and a light blue variation. And then I gave them, like, little rugs, kind of like those, like, floor mats for rolling chairs. And then some cute little plushy shelves, and I tried to make both sides kind of, like, match each of their personalities. And that's going to be it for Bam and Julian's house. It turned out really nice. I think everything, all the elements I was going for merged together very well. And of course I had to change a new name, give them a new name for their place. And I ended up going with a Star Pack Studio, because I think that's cute, and it matches, and it's alliteration. And now it's time to invite my darling Miss Kiki to her new vacation home. and I'm super excited because I think this turned out really well too. And if you don't know who Kiki is paired with on my island, it is Dottie. I find it kind of funny because Kiki wants to make like a seafood snack bar, and Dottie's theme is like a garden shop, so I kind of combined those two thoughts together, and I think it turned out very well. So they're business ladies, they own a combination plant store and seafood restaurant, which I think is pretty fun. So I made like a little bar on the beach here so people could come out. And then of course I had the seafood stand and some different dishes. But yeah, it was a very fun combination to do. I think it ended up working really well. So like while you're getting something to eat, you can also pick up a new plant friend, which I think is a lot of fun. And then I had to use the mermaid stuff, and of course a black and white kind of house because Kiki and Dottie are both, well, Kiki is like all black, but Dottie is black and white, so it works really well together. Their aesthetics are very similar. So at this case, I just did the outside because I knew that Dottie was going to bring in a lot of new stuff. I can't get over how cute these little cutscenes are. They're so cute together. I just love it. They're adorable. I did end up with more gay pairings than straight pairings on this island, but that's very appropriate for me, so... Anyway, let's get back into the decorating portion, where I'm turning the main floor into an actual living room slash kitchen slash, first floor, like I've been doing with the other houses. I want to give them a nice kitchen. I ended up making their stuff like pretty dark wood, dark flooring, that kind of thing. It matches their aesthetic very well. And I added in a little section for them to have a bathroom. I also put a range hood up, which that's a detail I should include more often. I really focused on the kitchen on this one, obviously because this is kind of like an in-home business, so they have a really good kitchen for Kiki's seafood business, and then in the other corner they have like a little living room seating area, but it's also a display for Dottie's flower business, so it's like a florist slash seafood restaurant, which is an odd combination, but I think it worked out really well, and I think it's really cute. Of course, we had to have a bathroom. I always include that if I can. And it's nicer with Happy Home Paradise, obviously, because I can, and make their houses bigger. Which, of course, is the biggest curveball for making a villager house on your island look nice because of the limited space. But with Happy Home Paradise, I can give them as big of a house as I want, which is so much nicer. And now we're moving on to the upstairs, which I also gave them a very nice bedroom, because obviously. And I put more like botanical kind of stuff in here for Dottie's taste. And Kiki also seems to be that kind of a vibe as well. I gave them a rose bed and some like more naturalistic kind of stuff, which I really like that rug, that botanical rug, and those pansy side tables. Yeah, big fan. I think this whole house turned out really nice. It feels like somewhere I would want to actually live. And I had to include some books because Kiki is an avid reader, because she is a normal. And I had to include some cute little fashion things for Dottie, because she is a pop star slash florist diva, which good for her. Honestly, that's such a cool combination of things. And they're definitely plant lesbians, okay? That is 100% what's going on here. We have plant lesbians and cooking lesbians. So I struggled a little bit to get something to fit, so I just went with plant and seafood. Because I couldn't... Well, no, I could fit shop. Yeah. I tried to make it more fancy, but them's the limits. And now we are down to our final two, which is going to be Phil and Jeremiah. I don't know if they're, like, completely a couple yet, but they will be. They're more like just really good friends at this point of how my island lore has gone, but they're going to be sharing a vacation home. So, Phil likes space stuff, which, honestly, it would be kind of fun to have Phil and Julian in a house together, too, but obviously I can't do that on this file. But the space and sauna kind of vibes in combination is a lot of fun. I almost changed it this summer, but I decided against it just because the cherry blossom trees looks really nice, and I also enjoy the petals falling. Now we're going to go into the house, do a very basic thing here, because obviously Jeremiah's furniture is going to add a lot to this, so the space theme isn't really the most fleshed out, I guess. And I'm going to be adding way more stuff from Jeremiah. I just kind of wanted to see if I could make a spaceman kind of thing going on here with the astronaut helmet on the wall, but, you know, good enough. Because now we get to add in Mr. Jeremiah, who is so adorable. I love him so much. And he is our last villager to add. But, oh man, I love the odd couple vibes of Phil and Jeremiah, especially when we are getting to their little meeting together. Just wait for it. They look so silly together, but so good. It's hilarious. But yeah, Phil and Jeremiah, I don't know why. They just worked. And I think it's mostly because they were the last two that I couldn't see any connection between. So they're mostly friends right now, but they'll definitely, you know, develop something, I'm sure. And that was mostly because I saw Kiki and Dottie interacting a lot, and I'm like, okay, this is how the cookie crumbles. It's Phil and Jeremiah together. And it worked out. Here I'm adding in some, like, more outdoor decorations. I couldn't get the partitions to line up very well, and that angered me, but it worked out well enough. It still looks symmetrical. And I included a lot of the, like, Zodiac furniture as well. Honestly, I'm kind of glad that it was Phil and Jeremiah and not Phil and Julian, because it would have been... Their themes are way too similar, right? It would have been just like... I could have finished either one of their vacation homes entirely, and it would have been completely the same. So, you know. At least with Jeremiah, like, he adds in the, like, sauna spa kind of stuff, because that's his vibe, is, like, a spa. Oh, yeah, here's me trying to use those counters and getting upset because they were too tall or too short. I'm sure they could be useful for something else, but look at that. They cover up the stove. It angered me, so I ended up going with some other items. And the ranch tea table is a little bit tall, but it's not too tall. It's fine. It works out well enough. Oh yeah, gave them a nice little kitchen. I'd like to include the dish drying rack in kitchens. I just think it's a nice touch. And then I included the blue sink I was talking about. That is my favorite variation of that. And then some other cute little things on the wall, some art. And then my favorite thing to do is just add those hanging banners to separate spaces. Some little mats. I really like how this turned out. It's very clean looking. Like the contrast between the light colors in the blue and the light blue and the dark blue and the white. It's nice. Now it's time for the bedroom. Which, this one, it took me a while just because I was like thinking of what to do. I had to cut out a lot of pauses in this, but I think I like how it turned out. The little star clocks, the Nova clocks are super cute. I had to add some plushies because Jeremiah is lazy and we need some plushies in here. And I feel like Phil would be the one to like collect plushies, like in a collector kind of way, and Jeremiah just kind of likes them in a fun kind of way, so they would definitely see eye to eye on that, I think. And then I wanted to change the size of it, but then I remembered it would destroy a lot of my items, and I'm like, never mind, I don't want to deal with that. And then the Moroccan tray tables are nice. I added in some like other little decorative things. Definitely those little vases. Yeah, it was fun. I like doing this whole project. I think once I get the villager photos for my new set of villagers, I think I'll do this again. I think that's going to be a fun little way to see them off. Because if I remember correctly, the original Fugue dream address, was it spring or summer? I'd have to look at it, but this next is going to be fall. Even if I'm doing it out of order, I don't care. I'll do it out of order. But that's going to be it for this video. We're almost to the end here. And yeah, it was so fun. I just like that when I say I need to leave, it's like, don't worry, Jeremiah will welcome you anytime you want to visit. Like, they're together. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good one. I'll see you next week for another Animal Crossing video.